Hello viewers, welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel. And so today I'm going to be replacing the BCM with a new one. The part just came in today. Today is Tuesday, October the 1st, and it's been roughly 1 week until the part showed up. So I'm going to be replacing the BCM, the body control module. Now, part one is already posted on my channel, so if you haven't seen part one, I will post a link on the screen and in the description and comments section. So the part number for this BCM is right here, 6814-0325 AC-001. The date says 2024, August 23rd. So it comes in a box that's like this. So I'm going to remove the old BCM, then I'm going to put the new one in, and then afterwards we are going to program it. One thing that you should do is to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. On this vehicle, the battery is hiding inside the driver's side inner fender. So you can just disconnect the battery from here because the cable is connected to here, and then you should be okay. Some electronics are very sensitive to voltage spikes. So sometimes if you don't disconnect the battery, sometimes disconnecting the connectors and reconnecting them can cause a voltage spike. So you're probably better off just removing the negative terminal of the battery before you start replacing the module. So it's going to be very difficult to show replacement here, but usually it's two nuts that's holding the computer, and then you'll need to push down on the fuse box and tilt the computer out of the way, and somehow you need to maneuver the computer so you're able to get it out. So there are two 10mm nuts that's at the bottom. But first I need to disconnect all of the 7 connectors, and then I'm going to remove the computer off camera because there's no working room here to show everything. So the computer is out. You just need to push down on the fuse box as you are trying to tilt it out. You should be able to get it out after that. There's the old computer. You want to compare the old one and the new one. Just make sure that everything is the same. There's a total of 7 connectors here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here's the same. So everything is the same. So when you are installing the new computer, just make sure that none of the harnesses are in the way, because they will get in the way as you are trying to put it in. So you gotta make sure that when you're installing the BCM, when it's installed like this, you gotta make sure that the upper right corner is lined up, and also this one is lined up, because otherwise it's not going to sit flush. It's going to sit on an angle. So make sure that you insert this in first like this, and then you can get it line up on the 2 studs that are at the bottom. So if anybody's having trouble trying to get the connectors out or in, so right now I took them out. When the connector is in, it will often be like this, and it will clip into place. So in order to undo the connectors, you need to push on the tab here and slide this downwards at the same time. So you can just use your fingers to slide it at the same time, then you should be able to get it out. As I push at the same time, then you need to push this all the way down. Then when you install these, you push it all the way in, make sure it's flush, and then you bring this all the way up past here, and then it should lock into place. So once you're done the installation, just reconnect the battery, and then we're going to go ahead and program the computer. So now I have the laptop with me inside the vehicle. I'm just going to program the BCM now. I had a little bit of a hard time trying to set everything up, so everything is set up now. So there are 20 diagnostic trouble codes stored. So I'm gonna see if I can do the programming now. I already have the battery charger and everything hooked up, so I'm gonna see if I can get into the BCM now and program it. TPMS codes, communication, lost communication, body control module, mismatch, VIN. Okay, so we're gonna see if we can program flash the BCM. I think you need to clear the codes somehow. It says battery voltage 13.6 volts. Body controller has a very old, I think this is a very old calibration. So please ensure battery charger is connected prior to flash failure to do so. Damage in ECU. This is for the BCM up here. Shows the calibration and everything. So I'm gonna flash ECU. The ECU appears to be up to date. Flash at the same part number. Okay. So you do not have valid Tech Authority subscription. Please click here. You already paid for a subscription already. So it says Tech Authority. I paid for a WI Tech 2 subscription. So I'm logging in because I was not logged in to the website. So I'm connected back to the application. I have to restart everything all over again. Go to clear all DTCs. Still says active. Want to clear again. This one is for the airbag. This is the wiper stuff. Satellite radio antenna not connected. We're gonna go to all flashes. Topology BCM. Go here. I already paid for a subscription, so it should work. Flash ECU. Continue. So reprogramming subscription required. Problem with this Chrysler stuff, they want you to get a subscription for everything. WI Tech and for the ECU Flash, a subscription. So I think you have to buy individually because you need to get into the separate programs and or software in order to make this work. So I paid the $35 or whatever it was, the 1 year subscription, so I can continue on to program this. So the starting of Flash, the instrument cluster does all kinds of things. Says in order for this Flash to be successful, the ignition must be in the off position. Please ensure the ignition is in the off position. Push OK to continue. Turn off. Continue. So that starting Chrysler Flash process. So downloading physical block 101 error occurred. Everything is connected, so the ECU is not responding to the tool as expected. Please restart ECU Flash. I'm starting this again. I just put on whatever. New BCM, need the Flash program, new BCM. To turn the vehicle on. Is it to keep it off so it's off? Flash ECU. Said in order for this flash to be successful, the ignition must be off, in the off position. And then click continue. And so now it's downloading, and it has started now. So I'm just waiting for this to program Flash. You probably didn't mention that I'm using the Top Don R-Link J2534 pass-through device to flash the computer on this. So I'm still waiting for it to finish. I think it's almost done. I am a little bit nervous, so I get a little bit nervous when I'm doing these kind of things. So, so I'm just waiting for this to finish now. So it's pretty much done now. Ignition automatically turns on by itself once it's programmed. Please turn the ignition to the run position and push OK to continue. It automatically put it in the run position, so continue. So please wait, restoring vehicle configuration. We're scanning vehicle. So the ECU is up to date. Successfully flashed ECU from old part number to current part number because I replaced the BCM. The part numbers are not the same, so I think the computer has a storage memory somewhere to transfer the old data to the new computer. So we're gonna view DTCs now. Clear DTCs, all DTCs, clear DTCs. So these are the codes now that are stored. So now I believe that there is more than one issue on this vehicle. I believe that there could be an issue with the fuse box, also called the TIPM, the TIPM, totally integrated power module. The BCM is responsible for inputs and outputs, and so that usually on the scan tool, that if you try to turn the headlights on or the wiper switch on to a certain position, you should be able to see it on the scan tool. But if the vehicle is not responding, and then it could mean that there's an issue with the TIPM. So we're just gonna do a few tests first, and then most likely I'm going to be replacing the TIPM because I know that that they are common for failing on these vehicles. So I've been doing a lot of tests on and off camera. I just wanted to show you guys something. The headlights are operated by the two 40 amp fuses. So this one is for the passenger side, and this one here is for the driver's side. So when I pull this fuse out, the headlight stops working on the passenger side when the headlight switch is turned on. And so I just wanted to let you know on where the fuses are. There are no relays for these headlights. They are operated internally by the body control module, a computer. So there's no relays for the headlights. So right now, usually when you use the touch light, you only get power on the one side. So, which is the way it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm connected to the negative side of the fuse box. So even with the headlight switch on, there should be power on the one side, and then it's grounded on the other side. And these are these type of fuses are the J case type fuses. So the way I test them is you can either use like a multimeter or something. I have a little device here. It's called it's by a company called EATC or something, Busman series. So this can test all kinds of fuses. You can adjust it to test the particular fuse that you are testing. So this it's going to light up if there is a continuity. So it lights up each time. So I know that the fuse is good. There are sometimes you can't tell. You can't tell sometimes just by having a look at the casing and how it's clear. You can see the copper wire is still attached. It's still intact, but there are sometimes it's hard to tell. So usually if I am in doubt, I just use a tool like this, and if it lights up, and then it's good. You can use a multimeter or any capable or similar device to test these J case type fuses. Now, as for the wiper system, there are two relays here. So when I turn the multi-function switch, the wiper switch, when I turn it on, I could feel these two relays are clicking. And I know it's not a relay problem because I use a jump test relay or relay switch to put it in place of this, and the wipers work when I jump it. I'll show you that in just a moment. So now, just for the sake of demonstration purposes, I just wanted to show you guys. I have a somewhat advanced relay tester to test the relays. So I'm just gonna take the one and pop it into here. This is a 5-pin relay. 5-pin. Make sure you put the switch to 5-pin, and I'm going to press the button. And this thing it tests 10 times, and it puts a 7 amp load on these relays to check if the relay is good. This one is good. The other relay testers are not very good because it doesn't put a load on the relay, so it's not a definitive test. It's not a good test, and that only tests the coil contacts of the relay. It doesn't test anything else, and more often than not, the other relay testers are going to pass relays that are bad. So this one is a lot better because it puts a 7 amp load onto the relay. So a lot of stuff in electrical systems would often pass when there's no load on it, but once you put a load on it, and then it will most likely fail if there's an issue with it. So that's that. So I'm just going to test the other one. I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm not going to put it in all the way because I'm going to take it out soon. So I'm going to test this one. And this one is good. So I'm going to take these two relays and replace them with the jumper style relay switches. This one has like a on and off switch to it. So I'm going to insert them in. So this is going to be in place of the wiper relay. So I have full and direct control here. So I'm going to turn this on, and you're going to see the wipers are going to be working. So I'm going to turn this on. And now the wipers are working. You can see that the wipers are working now. So I'm going to turn it off. But the thing is, I have to park these wiper switch. I have to park the wiper manually when I turn it off to put it back to its position. So I believe that there could be some issue inside the relay box that's not allowing the signal to be activated to turn on the wipers. It only works with the switches. Earlier, I did some testing earlier. The wiper on off would work, but the low high speed would not work for some reason. It just turns on onto one speed, so you can't control the speed when you are jumping the wiper system. So now I'm just going to take this out. I did some other testing off camera. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys or not about the voltage drop testing. I was doing some voltage drop, and so I'm going to see and have a look at something first off camera, and then I'll bring you guys back. So the ignition has to be in the run or on position. So I'm just going to see reach the positive terminal from down here. I won't be able to show you that on camera. And put from the positive cable to the positive cable on one end to the other and see. I'm going to hook up the negative on the one side. The ignition on. It's a 0.007. That's normal. And so the voltage drop is normal on this. You can only do voltage drop when there is a load in the system. The system has to be on. You can't disconnect everything and do voltage drop then. There has to be a load on the system. So now I'm going to be disconnecting the negative and the positive terminals here on the fuse box, because I already know that the TIPM is bad, so I'm just going to be replacing it now. Now, in order to remove this, you need to lift up on these tabs. To lift up on these tabs, and you should be able to get it out. And I removed it earlier. I tried to clean it with some electrical contact cleaner for the pins, and to see if that worked or not. It's a lot easier to take out now because it was previously removed. So we're going to go ahead to install the I got a used TIPM fuse box from the Junkyard. I did make a few videos on that, so I'll show the clip of me being in the junkyard and removing the parts and stuff, and then we'll continue back on this. So right now I'm at the junkyard at the Kenny U-Pull junkyard, and behind me I have a Dodge Journey here. I believe it's also a 2011, I think. So I'm just going to see if I can pull out some parts here on the fuse box. So this one I think is a 2013, 2014. I'm not sure. I was just having a look at the VIN. See the VIN number. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 E. It's probably a 2015, I think, 2014. 2015. A would be 2010. B 11. C 12. D 13. So E. So this would be a 2014. So they do have a 2011 here. Two 2011. So I'm probably going to check those out. I don't know if the fuse box is the same for the one that I'm looking for. I know this is you call this the IPM, intelligent or integrated power module. In some of the Chryslers they call it the TIPM, the totally integrated power module. So I'm just having a look here. Everything still seems to be intact. I don't know if this is still going to work for the earlier model years. So I have to see. So I'll have a look at the uh, other Dodge Journeys that they have in the lot here. So you can see the engine. So this is the 2.4 liter. So this one over here is 2011. I can check the VIN number here. It says B for the 10th digit. So B, so that's a 2011. So I'm just gonna take a few things from here, see if I can get the fuse box out, and hopefully it's still intact. I think there's everything is there, so probably going to take that out and try that. So hopefully that this one works. So we'll see. This is a section 22A. There's a whole plenty of cars here, so they had at least maybe like 4 or 5 of these vehicles. So now I was able to get the fuse box out. Everything is out. Disconnected the terminals. Now everything is out now. Here's the used fuse box, and hopefully that's going to fix our issue. There's quite a bit of like rust here, so we probably have to clean it down first before we do the installation. I also saw some of the rodent uh, infest the infestation stuff on the rodent. So this was a similar thing that I saw earlier on the one that I'm working on with the ignition coil wiring. So I'm probably going to take a few other things as well. And I think that's going to be it. I'm just a little bit sick this week, so I have a bit of a sore throat, a sore voice. So I'm probably just in case for the shits and giggles, I might just take the wiper switch out, the wiper and the headlight switch. So this one's easy to take out usually. So I'll see if that works. So we'll see on what happens. So for this one, usually you just need to pull out, and then you should be able to take it out with the switch here. There's a switch in the back. You push. That was a one-hander. So I pulled out the wiper switch. I'm just going to keep it as spare parts. So there's another, I think that's a Dodge, a Caliber, I think. So we're gonna have a look at the other one, just in case. Trying to see where the other one is. Row 30. There's another one here, also I think a 2011, if I'm not mistaken. 09, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a 2009. It's completely different. So that's not gonna work. So I think I'm going to stop uh, here. I'm going to stop right here, and that's going to be it. Uh, Hopefully the fuse box is going to fix the issue, because I've been having multiple issues on this vehicle. So it's not just one single problem, and so it's been a little bit tricky to diagnose. So hopefully I can put this in and it's going to fix our issue. This one here is a 2010, but the fuse box is completely different, so that's not going to work. And there's water everywhere here. It was open, so that's not going to work. And there's been quite a bit of changes throughout the model years, so I believe that only the 2011 model year is going to work, only because after 2011 and 2012 and onwards, I think up to 2020, they made some changes, so it's not going to be compatible with the vehicle that I have now. So this is the building for Kenny U Pull. It's located in Hamilton area. So this is the first time I've been to like an actual junkyard to get parts, because I'm a little desperate at this time to save the customer a little bit of some money. So hopefully that's going to fix the vehicle now. So there is a little bit of dirt here and leaves, so to make sure to take all of that out. Just want to see if this thing is going to work. And I've already did extensive testing on this and exhausted pretty much all of my options now. There isn't anything left. So anyways, so we are going to put this in. These things, they need to line up with the prongs. Should be able to push in after that. Put the cable back in, and this back in. There is typically an initialization process when you install a new or used TIPM. It's not very complicated. If I have to do that, I'll show you guys that after I'm done with the installation. Install the negative cable now. That's on the firewall. It is going to spark a tiny bit, so you just need to be careful. This cable is connected directly to the negative terminal of the battery, because the they place the battery in a stupid location on these vehicles inside the driver's side inner fender. So anyhow, just be careful as when you are tightening this up to not touch the positive, because it's very easy to touch the positive terminal here, and as you are tightening up the ground. So just watch out for that. Earlier the junkyard part, this one here, all of the fuses were not in, so make sure all of the fuses and everything are in before you attempt to even turn on the vehicle or anything. So there are some pictures I'm going to post here. I ended up disconnecting the entire fuse box and removing all of the connectors for further testing, and I found multiple issues on this vehicle, but it was not the main issue, the main problem. I found one pin that was completely loose and out of the connector, but I didn't see any difference after I reconnected it. I made sure it was reconnected back to make sure that it was all the way in, and there was a pin fitment issue on this, and so I fixed that, but although I fixed that, that was not the issue, unfortunately. And so now I was off camera for a considerable amount of time, and so there are a few videos I made of me just checking all of these circuits. So I'm going to be putting out some of the videos now. I broke them down into several parts. It's just me checking all of the wiring and showing the resistance values of all of the wiring. So have a look at that. So now I'm going to be checking the two wires, the W414 pin 73 on the C3 connector, the brown and orange wire. So I disconnected the fuse box, the TIPM, and so now I'm connected to pin 71 on the gray connector. This is the brown and orange wire. So I'm checking the resistance of this wire because the front wipers are not working. So there's an issue, possible issue somewhere here in the circuit. So I have the multimeter connected on the resistance scale, and the 4-pin connector on the wiper is disconnected. You can see the brown and orange wire here. So I'm just going to put it here for ease of access. And you can see the resistance is 0.2 ohms. So that wire is good. So what's next? I'm going to check the brown and white wire now. It's pin 51 on the same connector, on the C3 connector. So now I'm checking pin 51, the brown and white wire, which is back here. You see the brown and white wire, and you won't be able to see it on camera, but the pins are labeled directly onto the connector. So I connected it to here and back to here on the connector, on the wiper connector in the back. You can see 0.1 ohms, 0.2 ohms. So this wire is good. So I checked these two wires and they are good. Now I'm checking this wire. The ground one is pin 32, still on the C3 connector. I'm checking everything here. And this is also good. I checked it off camera, so I'm connected now. And the black wire is the last wire here. So I'm not inserting it too far in. It's 0.4 ohms. It's connected in the back here on pin 32. So it's connected to pin 32 for the black wire. I don't think you guys will be able to see it because it's hiding in between all of the other wires. So now I'm going to check the other wires now. Pin 39, brown and yellow, C3 connector. And I'm also going to check pin 52, the brown and light green. So now I'm checking pin 39 from the C3 connector, brown and yellow wire, going to the BCM, pin 12 on connector A. So you see the brown and the yellow wire is connected, is getting 1.6 ohms. Connected to the BCM inside here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. So now I'm checking pin 52, brown and light green, C3 connector to the A1 connector. Sorry, the A connector, pin 20. The brown and light green. So it's connected to brown and light green on pin 52. I'm already connected to it and is getting 0.6 ohms. So brown and light green, it's connected to the connector. I couldn't get access at the back of the connector, so I have to put it at the front, but being careful to not spread the pins, to not push the pins in too hard. So now we have moved over to the left front driver's side headlamp. We are checking the white and dark blue wire going to the body control module on C1, which is pin 3, to the headlight connector connected to here. And it's already connected. You can see it's 1.3 ohms, and so that wire is good. Connected inside here on pin 3. So now we are checking the headlight switch connector, pin 6, the white and yellow wire, to the C4 connector on pin 17 to pin 6 on the headlight switch. 0.3 ohms, and it's good. So now we are looking at the C213 connector, which is located on the passenger side area. And just one thing to note is that this vehicle has been into an accident previously, and so I disconnected the connector down here on where the passenger side wheel well is, and I'm checking on the C213 connector on the one end from pin 7, the white and light blue, to the communication lines from the LIN bus, the orange and violet wire, computer data lines system. So I'm looking at the at the pin 7 here to the D402 orange and violet wire on pin 6, which is the on the C7 connector inside the vehicle where the BCM is. And we see here has very high resistance, 8.27 mega ohms. So I think there's a problem here with the communications system with this wire communicating with the for the low beam bulb. The orange and violet wire for the LIN bus. So we are checking pin 7, which is the white and dark blue from the 213 connector, getting 0.9 ohms all the way to the headlight wiring connector. Just take note that there's a connector over here and it connects to another connector at the bottom here. So you have to check both ends of the connector. So after exhaustive and extensive research and diagnostics, I actually ended up finding a broken wire. So I'm just in the middle of repairing a wire here. I believe it's a power wire for some of these circuits. So I'm going to be repairing this, and then we are going to find out on what happens next. There was corrosion at the bottom of the wiring harness. So that corrosion, basically it rubbed through the wires, and so I cut off the bad section of the wire, and you can see here that they are disconnected. They are broken in between. You can see that the wire is good at the two ends, but in the middle it rubbed through. So I went off camera for a considerable amount of time to find on where the issue was, and I used a mirror to check on the jumble of wires, on where all the wires connect to going to the fuse box. And I noticed there was I guess they call it a green crusty, the green and blue corrosion underneath the wiring harness is very difficult to see, because the battery is hiding inside the inner fender area, so you can't really see it very well. So I had to use a mirror to see it, and so I had to rip open the sheath and the electrical tape and stuff. And so as I opened the electrical tape, I saw the corrosion. It went directly through the wire, and that's how I found the broken wire at the very end. Earlier in my diagnostic, I was actually about to check this harness area and where the jumble of wires are, but the thing is I got distracted and carried away, and so I went on to checking other things. I totally forgot about this harness area because I found out through research that it was somewhat known or common that on Chryslers that the corrosion could form in this area, because due to the bad design that Chrysler has with their wiring problems all of these years. So now I finished repairing the main power cable that was broken. So now we are going to start the vehicle up and make sure that all of the headlights and the brake and tail lights are all working. So now the moment of truth. I'm turning the headlights on. The headlights are working. High beams are both working. And the indicators are both working too. And the wipers. The wipers are fully functional now. So you can see that the headlights are working, the indicators and side markers, everything is working. And now the right side tail and brake lights are also working now. So earlier I was having a look at the wiring harnesses from the I believe it's the C213 connector that's hiding behind the passenger splash shield area. So I was checking from there to the BCM connectors for some of the wires, and from here all the way to the headlight here. So I figured that because the wiper system, the wiring was all good and everything checked out okay. There were no broken wires in the wiper system. And I don't think there was a point of checking the headlight system, because if the wiper system is working and one of the headlights are working, and so I figured that there would be an issue on where the jumble of wires here and where the battery is. So that's how I ended up trying to find the issue at the very end. So I did a visual inspection and found corrosion on where those wires are. And I had to use a mirror to see, because it was very difficult to see. And that's how I ended up chasing and finding the issue at the very end. So now this electrical Armageddon is all over now. I just need to take everything apart and just tape up the wiring and stuff and put everything back, and then that's it. This entire time I was checking a whole bunch of wires. I couldn't find anything bad, but then eventually I found a broken wire just on where the battery is, and you can see there's a jumble of wires. They're all connected together. I saw some corrosion underneath over there, and so I started to open up the wiring harness, and I found that broken power wire that powers all of the accessories that were not working on this. And so eventually, unfortunately, I was not able to get down to that issue in the very beginning. So I actually went on a very long goose chase or rabbit hole. So now the problem is all fixed. I am happy now. The customer is happy. So that's going to be it. It's just a learning lesson to be careful when you call a computer or when you call parts, because you have to watch out for that, because it can get very expensive very fast. And I'm somebody who normally does not like to throw parts at it. I like to do my testing. So unfortunately it's going to happen on some very complicated issues, but it's part of the industry sometimes, and mistakes happens even though you do your due diligence in your testing. But take this as a learning lesson for everybody, including myself. So that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And please don't forget to hit that bell notification, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care. So this is a bonus footage for some of you guys who want to know more about the wiring diagram. Now, before I get into this, I just wanted to explain a little bit of some history about the customer. This customer is one of my instructors for my Hapkido martial arts class. He's a 5th degree black belt master instructor. He's one of the 5th degrees master instructors. And so anyhow, he told me that his mechanic didn't want to look at his vehicle. He just said, "Oh, it's the BCM. Take it to the Chrysler dealership. Take it to the dealership." And so it didn't seem like he wanted to look into this car, because I believe that it's most likely that he didn't want to deal with the electrical issue on this vehicle, and or the mechanic did not have the time to look into it, because in most cases a lot of guys, they like to do a lot of gravy work, like straightforward work, steering and suspension and brakes, and there is a lot of money in that, but there's also a lot of money in the electrical work too. If you are if you are very good, proficient, and efficient in doing the electrical diagnosis. So the customer, he told me that nobody wanted to look at his car. So I told him, hey, I will have a look at it for you. And so this is how I started off in working on this vehicle. So on this vehicle, one of the accessories that are not working is the wiper system. And so the wiper system is the easiest circuit to deal with compared to the headlight circuit. So this wiring diagram is simplified. So I'm going to go over it with you, and I'm going to explain as to why I replaced the BCM, the body control module, in the first place. So you have the battery going to the fuse, the fuse number 184, which is a 30 amp fuse. That fuse was good. You go all the way down to the wiper on-off relay, and this relay is good because I could feel the relay click when you turn the wiper switch on, and the same for the high and low relay. So when you go here to pin 30, which is also called the common, so when you go through pin 30 and the circuit closes, this will activate the relay and go through the coil, the windings inside the coil. And so when you're on interval between 1 and 5, this relay will activate. So this is gonna close from pin 87A to 87. And if you have the high and low on, it will go through pin 87 and through the other relay through pin 30. And so and that circuit will close depending if you're on the low or if you're on the high switch. So I believe this will be the low and this will be the high. So it depends on which interval or switch you are on for the wiper switch. And so anyhow, I don't want to go in extreme deep detail, so I figure that these relays were both good. There were no issues over here, so everything was good. So when I went down here earlier in my diagnosis, I was following the flow chart, on service information. It was telling me to check the front wiper park switch sense, which is on pin 3 for the connector directly that goes into the wiper motor, W7, brown and gray wire. From pin 3 on the wiper connector to the BCM, the body control module, this rectangle here at the bottom, a front wiper perk switch sense. So that is connector A for pin 6 for the perk wiper perk sense, and that wire was good. And so when I checked that, there wasn't anything else to check because everything was good. So that's why I replaced the body control module in the very beginning after I checked like a million things. And so later in my diagnosis, my younger brother, who's not a mechanic, but he knows some electrical stuff, but he doesn't really know so much more than I do. So we were just brainstorming some stuff. He just told me, hey, go back and check all the wires, because I skipped this area over here. I skipped checking this because I was following the stupid flow chart, which I don't normally trust from the manufacturer, because based on my experience, the flow charts a lot of times they won't make sense. So sometimes I just take it with a grain of salt, and so I only check this wire here. So when we go back up here on the C3 connector, which is under the hood at the fuse box, so this is C3, 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 C3. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires here in total. So I checked pin 39, W8 circuit 22, brown and yellow, and that was good. That's going all the way down to the wiper on-off relay control from the A connector at the BCM inside the passenger side compartment, pin 12. I checked that, and that was good. I just I checked the resistance of the wires because I can't check the wires with the vehicle loaded, because I have to disconnect the entire fuse box, and so in order to load the system, you have to turn the ignition on. But I can't do that in this situation. So I'm just checking the resistance from one end of the wire to the other end of the wire. So I checked this, and that was good. And pin 32, which is a main ground, and that was good. That was good. I checked pin 71, W4 circuit 14, brown and orange, to the front wiper high-low relay high speed output, and that was good. Pin 51, brown and white, going to here, and that was good. Pin 52, brown and light green, all the way down here to pin 20 on the A connector at the body control module, and that was good. So I checked this entire circuit. The entire circuit was good. So for the last maybe 2-3 hours, when my young brother was with me, brainstorming with me, he was telling me to let's go on to the headlight circuit. But in between there, I told him there's no point, because at this time the entire circuit for the wiper system is good, and the wiper is not working. And earlier in my diagnosis, there was no power going to the 4-pin connector connected to the wiper motor, so power is missing, obviously. And that was the case for everything else. The power was missing for the low beam headlight. It was only getting ground but no power. So that's the reason on how I ended up trying to find out the root cause of the problem at the very end, because that gave me a little bit of more thinking. So I figured out that something was not making sense here, because especially when I jumped the wiper system with a relay with the on and off switch, the wipers, it would work, because you are bypassing the entire circuit when you're using the jumper relay. So you're bypassing the entire circuit. So if it was working that way, obviously that power is missing from somewhere. And that's how I came to the conclusion that there was a broken wire somewhere in the system. And so when I go all the way down here, at the very end, earlier in part 1, you could see it says turn the ignition off, disconnect the BCM-A harness connector, and measure the resistance and stuff. Said, is the resistance above 10k ohms? Said yes. Replace the BCM in accordance with the service information. So you have to be careful when replacing parts on vehicles, because it could take you on a long goose chase, and you could fall into the rabbit hole and run into problems. So, and things can get expensive very fast. So now we are moving on to the headlight system. So earlier in the video, we looked at some of the wires here. So from fuse 144, a 40 amp fuse, the left side of engine compartment, C6 connector, pin 14, red. I believe this one here, it may have been the wire that I found broken later on in the diagnosis, which was not allowing the low beam headlight to work, and some of the other lights, as well as the multi-function switch. You see here, multi-function switch return, and then there's some other stuff, park brake switch, a signal. And so there's a communication system called the LIN bus. And so this is the computer data lines system. And so we checked the wiring from the low beam headlight at pin 1 on the white and dark blue to pin 7 to the body control module area in the passenger side. This is the body control module over here. And so we checked all of this, and initially we thought that it could have been a communication issue, but it was not. And at the very end, as my brother was telling me to check all of these wires, I told him to stop. I'm like, that something is not making any sense here, because all of these wires are good everywhere we checked, so there has to be something else. And later on, I just found out that there was a jumble of wires outside of all these circuits were the one that was which was the one that was causing the problem. I believe it was the red wire here that was broken, that was not allowing any of these lights to work, although the passenger side light was still working and some of the other lights. But anyhow, so that's how I came to the basis of the diagnosis at the very end. So one other thing I forgot to mention is that we also had a look at the multi-function switch return, which was is part of the wipers, the wiper switch. So going down from here, and then there's a connection point over here, and there's one that says left end of dash and instrument panel harness. We initially thought that maybe there was a break in the wire over here, but that was not the case, because there's a dimmer switch that was already working, and the headlight switch, multi-function switch return, there's a headlamp switch that's also working. And so we tested a couple of these wires. the white and yellow wire, and they were good. So we were trying to see if there was an issue or not, but there wasn't. So the wiring was okay here, because I was about to remove the instrument panel and check behind the connector and wiring in the instrument cluster, but there was no issue there. So that's when we started to go and check at the C213 connector with the along with the computer data lines system at the LIN bus, the C7 pin 6, the orange and violet wire connected to the BCM inside the passenger's compartment inside the vehicle. And so we went on to check these wires, and all the wires were good. So that's when we stopped, and I figured out that there was an issue, and that's how I came to the conclusion that the red wire was most likely broken, which was the main power wire for all of these circuits.